So you do use a whole array of different ingredients. I can see some of them here. I'll take some pictures. And you use some quite unknown ingredients. Well, if you're not, if you haven't travelled extensively and you won't recognise. I think I know my food quite well, but I had looked through the website and thought, oh, there's a few on here that I've not heard of. So tell me a little bit about some of the ingredients that you use.
Well, I travel a lot, and that's the base point of my brand. It's about travel. So all of the things that you can eat at Cardamom Dill are my interpretation of recipes and dishes that I've tried.
Right.
I've always travelled a lot. I always will travel a lot. In fact, I'm closing next week to travel.
Right.
And I gather as much as I can. I meet as many people as I can. I go on tours. I go into restaurants. I meet chefs. But most of all, I go to markets.
Right.
A little bit like Rick Stein would always say, go to the local market, you find the culture there.
Yes.
And that's what I do. And if I see something I don't know, I'll just get it.
Yes.
And I'll research it and find a way of using it. So when I first started doing this, people they did refer to me a lot and compare me to Ottolenghi, who ironically is Israeli, and it was as a brand consultant leading an Israeli agency for 4 years. That was what piqued my interest. You know, all of these Middle Eastern and North African spices and herb mixes and things like that, they're so interesting and authentic. People now are becoming more and more aware. And interestingly, I get most of my ingredients now from a shop on the whole road, which is an Afghanistani store.
Right.
So it's not true anymore to say that you can't get these ingredients.
No.
So things like sumac and pulbi bear and things like that Ottolenghi and Sabrina Gayor and all of these kind of Middle Eastern chefs are using are really easy to find now. Yeah. And if you can't find them anywhere, go online to somewhere called Sous Chef or something like that. You can get them. Never do it through Amazon though, because it's too expensive.
No.
But I think I was thinking about this question a lot when you asked me, Emma. The single most important ingredient in my cooking is lemon.
Lemon.
One
of my favourites.
You can get lemons everywhere, folks.
Yes.
I probably get through about 50 a week.
Gosh.
I garnish with lemon zest.
Yes.
I uplift. I use less salt and more lemon to flavour my food.
So that elevates the
and
flavours.
What I want to do in all of my dishes, they might look deceptively simple, but I put layers of flavour through it with an end of lemon. So and people are always like, "What's that?" Yeah. And this is the thing, I love making the food, but the thing I love most is talking to my customers, my guests as I call them, about the food, because they kind of, what's that warm like pepper on top of that?
Yes.
And how do you do that, and how do you do this? And what I'm doing is piquing their interest to be more adventurous too.
Absolutely.
And I think that's really important, that we're embracing all of these ingredients and supporting all of these manufacturers around the world, or small producers. So whilst I would say seasonal, local is really important to me, as it should be to everybody, there's also loads of seasonal local people in Istanbul, in Afghanistan, in Syria. There's amazing cuisine in Syria that people need to know about, Greece and so on, that are just really exciting ways of lifting plant-based food. So this old adage that plant-based food is somehow boring, you know, knit your own sandals and lots of cheese, a lot of vegetarian food is really bad for you. If you think back to Cranks in the 70s, that was not healthy food.
No.
This is healthy food because it's all whole foods.
Whole foods,
and it's low fat, low sugar, high taste and texture, also really important. So what most people have in the restaurant is a tasting plate. And that's £10. They have a little bit of everything, and they basically go on a journey. And I'll tell them where everything is from as I'm serving them, and it's like people kind of go out and say that I feel like I've just been on holiday, which is the exact.
Which is always a good thing.
Always a good thing. But it's actually that makes me happy, because that is the foundation of the brand, to make people feel happy and to engage people and to inspire them to do it themselves.
Absolutely.
And all the recipes are on my website. That wasn't a plug, but I encourage people to make it themselves.
Yes, absolutely. So you have obviously travelled. Where do you pull influences from? You talked about kind of Istanbul. I can see from the food that you've got that an inspiration comes from all different places. Is your menu kind of themed each week on a particular country, or is it is?
So this week we happen to be in Istanbul.
Right.
So I'll go to a place like Istanbul. We know lots of good friends that can cook. So I literally go and sit with them in the kitchen with a glass of wine and say I ask them what they're doing. And what ingredients they're using and things. So this week is Istanbul. Last week it was Provence. The week before it was pâtisserie. And they're specific places. It's not like this is the Greek menu.
No,
this is
actually
the story behind this tart.
So you're going into that region
was that
or going
experience
in?
I had.
Right.
The story behind the Provençal menu as a childhood growing up in Provence.
Yes.
So it's all from the heart,
Yeah.
and authentic. And whilst I would say there's no such thing as a new recipe, there really isn't.
No.
But it's about how Otterlady, how myself, how a home cook sees something, tries it at home, and then interprets it for themselves.
Absolutely. I think a lot of people cook, you know, they might take a recipe, but they'll add little bits and take bits away for what's personal to them and interpret it the way that they want to eat it. So
I had a
that's what
lady
I'm
in a couple of weeks, her girlfriend brought her for lunch, and she would admit to this, dubious about coming.
Right.
And to start off with, she looked at the menu, and there was nothing on it she wanted. Anyway, we helped her choose. She had it, and she's one of our biggest fans now. Brought her daughter here for her birthday last week.
Fabulous.
So that's really lovely.
Yeah.
The other thing is that you were asking about how we're building this and evenings. Is that I've continued the supper club.
Yes.
That we started at the gallery. Clearly I can't get 24 people in here, so we keep it intimate to 12 to 14 people.
Yeah.
All the tables pushed together, linen cloths, candles, and a 3-course meal, which is also themed.
Right.
So this Friday, it's the last Friday of the month, and this Friday is Provence.
Yes.
Last month it was Tel Aviv. So again, I'm giving a story.
They're all sold out though, because I've already
Sold out.
looked. So you can't get in at the
I've got 2
minute.
places for this Friday.
Oh, there's 2 places
two
left.
cancellations. But they sell out very, very quickly.
Yes.
And I'm really pleased with that, because it just kind of goes to prove that what we're doing is right.
Absolutely.
It's good value, it's interesting, but most importantly, it's not about me or the food. It's about the friendships that are made down that one communal table.
Yes,
we have
they're all sitting
people
together
walking out
and-
holding hands. I'm waiting for my first marriage. It's that
Oh,
kind
wonderful.
of lovely, intimate thing that you said it's very London, and it is very London, but I don't want it to be seen as London. I want
No.
it to be York. I want it to be normal life. I try to kind of think of it like, this like quintessential view that we have of a Mediterranean table outside on a summer's night, and everybody's
Yes.
round it, and everybody's bought a dish to put on the table.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Really
absolutely.
important.
Sounds lovely. Those supper clubs sound fantastic, and you'll be able to see the details of those on your website. So we talked about the ingredients, and one of the things, if you get chance, please, I will post the link to the website, but I could have sat and read the website all afternoon. It's very engaging, and it kind of, you get a real feel for what you're about. But one of the things that I absolutely loved is, there's recipes on there, so you share your recipes with people, which I think is lovely. But also the ingredients that we talked about, some of those unusual ingredients, there's a whole pantry section on the website, and Kiki shares all the different ones and explains kind of how she uses them and what they taste like, etc. For anybody that wants to come across, what are your opening hours?
Wednesday through Saturday for lunch, from
Right.
12 o'clock till 4, last orders are 2:30. Because I
Okay.
have to crack on and cook for the next day. Everything is cooked fresh.
Yes.
Sunday we did do brunch, but as of last week we're now doing lunch.
Okay.
Because I just don't think York is catching on with the brunch thing.
No.
Sunday lunch, Yorkshire, that's what people want.
Yes.
So, but it's nothing like a Sunday lunch
No,
in Yorkshire.
you're
It's
not
your
going to get roast
absolute
beef and Yorkshire pudding.
No. It's the antithesis of that, but it's warm, summery, lovely, even in the depths of January.
Yeah.
Supper Club's obviously last Friday of every month, but also I'm now doing a series of pop-up chefs.
Okay.
So from next month there will be
So
one.
they'll come in here
Yeah.
and use the space.
Take it over.
Oh,
So
fabulous.
we've got a Palestinian girl, we've got a guy that's just been in Canada for 2 years, but he's from New York. He's coming back with a foraged menu. We've got all sorts of things. We've had ramen pop-ups. We've had all. It's just great because I want to give this kitchen to other people. Because when I was looking to pop up at the gallery,
Yes.
there was nowhere for me to go.
No.
So I want to be that person that allows people to test their idea here.
Absolutely.
And use it as
and
their
encourage
restaurant.
that as well.
Yeah.
Funnily enough, last week's vlog was a friend of mine, Gina, who's a Korean chef, who did a pop-up at Balthazar's because Paul thinks the same.
Saw it on your Instagram.
Very much feels the same way. Like, give someone else, let them use my space. I'm not
Yeah.
open on an evening. Let them use my space and share their kind of food and their cuisines that people might not try. That was a huge success. So I love the fact that you're opening it up to other people. So perhaps if there is anybody that's watching, there's a few people that follow the pages that are private chefs that don't have your own restaurants, but might want to be interested in be speaking to Kiki and
You're very
coming along
welcome.
and looking at the space. So thank you very much.
Pleasure.
That final thing we always finish with is to ask each person that we feature to give a shout out to someone else that you think is an amazing indie food business. So
Yeah.
who would you like to give a
Well,
shout out
I've
to?
given this a lot of thought, Emma, because there are a lot of really great places in York and indeed Yorkshire. But I'm going to give a shout out to my Spark brother, Danny.
Okay.
So Danny is a young man who specialises in Pan-Asian cooking. He's got a unit 4 down from mine called Chow. He does ramens, he does gyoza, he does amazing bao buns. His flavours and the layers of texture are unbelievable. And I think he's going to be very important.
Yeah.
Not just in York, I think he's going to be important in this country. He's got Michelin star written all over him.
Fabulous. You heard it here first.
Love Danny.
Kiki's prediction. Fabulous. Well, thank you so much
Pleasure.
for talking to us today. If you've not been down to Spark, I highly encourage it. In fact, York is my hometown, and as I wandered it with my husband on Saturday, I was just blown away by the food scene in York. I need to get across here a lot more often. I even said, maybe we should move to
Hey,
York.
come for lunch.
I will do. So if you've not come down, please come down and take a visit and come into Cardamom and Dill. Check out Chow. We'll see if we can feature those guys
There's
as
plenty of
well.
really good guys as well.
Yeah, and there's a baker across the way that hopefully will feature as well, that Kiki very, very much recommended to me when we chatted on Saturday. So that's it from Harrogate Food Buzz this week. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you.